Okay, welcome everyone. It's Wednesday, which means it's admissions discussion day for Mets across Montana. Thanks everybody for being here. Just as a reminder for those of you who might be new to joining us this week, as every Wednesday around the lunch hour, we have been graciously able to host admission professionals from different institutions all across the US. And today we're in New Mexico, which is awesome. It's pretty hot here in Montana, and maybe Priscilla will tell us what the weather is like in Albuquerque. But um, even so, I could take a trip to New Mexico. That sounds really lovely. So, yes, every Wednesday we are here. We'll be back next Wednesday. But today we are here with the University of New Mexico, and I will let our guests introduce themselves.
Hi guys, my name is Priscilla. As she stated, I'm a representative within the University of New Mexico. Any questions, of course, you're always welcome to reach out to me, and that information will be provided to you guys towards the end.
Perfect. So we are just going to jump in. And our first question of the day: what is special about the University of New Mexico? What is maybe unique to your campus or to your area? Um, yeah.
Yeah, so as we were just speaking of, the weather out here is really great. We all have almost 310 days of sunshine, which really allows you to do very outdoor experiences. Here you can go skiing, hiking, biking, water rafting up in Santa Fe, which is about maybe like an hour away from us. So that's also a really great aspect about living here in the area. You can go pretty much anywhere outside of the area and find yourself in a completely different place within a very short distance of time. If you're not too much into outdoors, that's okay. We also have a great nightlife in our downtown area. We have great local restaurants, great local cuisines. We are known for green chilies, so that's a must in every meal that you have. We Sorry, go ahead. Were you going to say something?
No, that sounds great.
Yeah, and then we also have a bunch of events throughout the year, a bunch of concerts. One that we're definitely known for is Balloon Fiesta. So that is where you're going to see a little bit over 200 hot air balloons just kind of go up in the air. Gives you the perfect opportunity to take a couple of pictures, and it is one of the most photographed events in the entire world. And so we have people coming from all over just for that specific event. But in the university itself, aside, like I said, from the beautiful Albuquerque, we have students coming from all over just for the university itself. We have different ethnicities, various backgrounds, various economic stories as well, like financial and everything like that. So everyone comes from, like I said, just different backgrounds and different ethnicities. But like we like to say, each of us finds all of us here at the university. So despite all the differences that we might have, we always kind of come together and try to strive in regards to the degrees and making the university better. We are a tier one research university, meaning that we do a lot of research here on campus. But what I really love about our campus is that we really like to think outside of the box. We're very, very innovative. And most importantly, you can definitely feel like yourself when you're on campus. So even if you have like, I don't know, purple hair and I don't know, some crazy outfit, we'll still welcome you and there's no judgment. And it's all about studying and making the university a better place.
Oh, I love that. It's nice to feel like a home away from home, right? Where you can come as you are. It's so important. Um, One thing I was going to follow up on is, what's the size of UNM? Is it I think, forgive me, I'm not a geography connoisseur, but Albuquerque is a relatively large city, right? Is UNM also large, or
So it's,
do you want
I
to
would say,
elaborate on that?
yeah, so I would say it's probably like a medium-sized campus, but we still have different buildings outside of our main campus. So definitely, for example, our hospital and things like that, there are in different buildings. So it does expand outside of the main area, but the main area itself, it's about a medium-sized campus. So it's big enough, but not too big where you're feeling too overwhelmed. We have about 22,000 students in total, and about 3,000 incoming freshmen every year.
Oh, that's awesome. And some from Montana. Yay.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. One of the questions that our students ask often when they're on campus visits, tours, are what are some of the program offerings? And I know you highlighted a hospital there. which is perfect because a lot of our students have been or have at least expressed an interest in health fields kind of broadly, from nursing to all the way to associates in radiology, but some of those different health professions. So, would you mind talking about some of the different programs, or maybe some unique programs too, even if they're outside of medical?
Yes, so at UNM, we do have a little bit over 200-degree programs, so there's quite a bit to choose from. We do have some of the ones we really like to highlight would be engineering, fine arts. Some of the ones in fine arts I really like to highlight is photography, which is ranked among the top 10 in the nation. And then also our film and digital arts program. We actually have our own filming studio, and recently Netflix moved into Albuquerque, so that's really growing out in Albuquerque. And then we're also hoping to have NBC studios out here pretty soon as well. We also have architecture. We're the only one in the state to offer an architecture program. We have business, and then health science, of course. There's different things you could do within health science, radiology, pharmacy. The list just kind of goes on. And then our law program. So those are like the main ones we like to highlight. But like I said, there's over 200-degree programs. So I always like to tell students to limit yourself to one degree. You can always do a double major or even do a minor. But health science is definitely one of the most popular programs we have on campus. As I mentioned, UNM does have its own hospital. We're the only level 1 trauma center here in the state, and have great technology. For example, they have a dummy lab, and the dummies are super high tech. They can talk back to you. They have a real heartbeat, and they can even deliver a baby, of course, not the traditional way, but that way you can get that practice on before you practice on real life humans.
Oh, wow. That's an advanced dummy. If they can talk back and have a heartbeat. One thing that a phrase that you brought up that I don't think we've talked about much this summer is the concept of the difference between a major and a minor. Do you want to just explain what those are for students, and how that process kind of works where you can have both?
Yeah, so a major is going to be your 4-year degree. So typically most programs that you're looking into, like business, architecture, things like that, they'll take about 4 years for you to finish, and those would be your majors. However, there are some students that choose to do a minor, and the minor is intended to help you enhance that major. So for example, let's say you want to study education and then you want a minor in Spanish. That minor will help you enhance your education degree. That way you can say, hey, I'm a teacher and I also know Spanish. So that definitely enhances that degree. So that's the intention behind it. You can always do a double major. So for example, we have some programs where you can do 2 degrees at the same time. One that I usually tell students about is our 3-2 MBA program. And this is kind of even going beyond. So an MBA is a master's degree. So after you finish your bachelor's, which is your major, you can go up a level, which is that master's degree, and that usually takes about 2 years. So through this program, it's called 3-2 MBA. Through this program, you can get your bachelor's in anything you want outside of business, and then also get your master's in business all within 5 years. So that could definitely save you quite a bit of money, quite a bit of time. I'm a business major myself, trust me, but if I could do it all over again, I would definitely go through that program.
Okay. That's really helpful. I think we've talked about this summer with other interviews, but there's a lot of words that students don't necessarily hear throughout high school, and this is like a prime example of them not having to always hear it from us, but to hear it directly from somebody who's helping students find what those different majors and minors are. So thanks for that. That is so exciting that Netflix is in Albuquerque. That is a big deal for film students. Absolutely. They're turning out all kinds of stuff. Speaking of having employers around and just having access to internships, externships, just job placement, or even, at a very first step of talking to someone in a career center, what are some of those career support assistants that UNM has for students? One thing that comes up a lot is, how do I know that I'm gonna get a job after I go through this educational path?
Yeah, so first of all, most of our degree programs are going to be very hands-on, either through classroom learning or through internship opportunities. So internships is just getting that experience while you're in college to get a potential job after you graduate from college. So I always recommend students to definitely start looking into internship opportunities while they're in college. That way they can try to get that full-time job after they graduate. So UNM does have its own career services, and it's really large and a really great service for our students. It's free of charge. So you can go there, they can help you with your resume, building it up from the ground up. They'll also help you with mock interviews. They'll also help you try finding an internship opportunity as well as a full-time opportunity. And they put postings on their website all the time. So you would just go in their website and check out what's been posted. And if you're kind of like, I'm new, I totally don't understand none of this, just go into the career services and they can help you through every step of the way. But they usually have a bunch of career fairs throughout the year with about 100 plus employers all the time, and they're trying to recruit our students. We do have really close partnerships with different companies. For example, we work with the Sandia National Laboratories, as well as Los Alamos National Laboratories and the Air Force through research opportunities. So those are probably one of the biggest employers for UNM. They're always trying to recruit our students, and trust me, they pay super, super well, especially because they're national labs. So like that, you're going to find opportunities throughout the university, and they're wanting to hire students. So it's just kind of also a matter of you going into the career services and just going through those steps to get that job right after graduation.
Perfect. Yeah, one thing that we've chatted about this summer that kind of comes up is how a student finds those different supports, right? And knowing to go to the career center and feeling confident doing that. And especially if you're a first generation student, what some of those like different barriers might be, or not knowing. And even if you're not, just if you're in a new location and a brand new place, how do you know how to support yourself? So um one question, like I'll put the question up here: what supports are offered to help first generation students? But even beyond that, are there specific supports that UNM has for that transfers, first year transferring in students, so first year students that are making that transition from high school, especially from somewhere further away such as Montana?
Yeah, I could definitely relate. A first generation student myself, so I could definitely relate to that struggle of transitioning from high school all the way to college, especially because I feel like in high school you're so used to people coming to you, and through college you kind of have to take that step, as you mentioned, and just take that effort and going to those places where they can provide you that service. At UNM, we do have a program called College Enrichment Program, and through that program, it's specific for first generation students, but they'll help out anyone. But it is, like I said, just kind of targeted more towards first generation. And they have different services available. They can help you with advising, financial need, just guiding you through those steps. And then UNM also offers tutoring in every single subject that you can think of. It is free of charge. I know I definitely utilized it while I was in school. So don't feel like shy about it. Just go in there. Trust me, once you take that step, then you'll feel comfortable about it. So take advantage of those opportunities. And then we also have different ethnic centers throughout the university. For example, we have something called El Centro de la Raza, and that's geared more towards Hispanic students. But like I said, anyone can go in there. We also have American Indian Student Services, African American Student Services. So there's different ethnic centers and community centers and student organizations that can help you just succeed through your college experience. So, and even if you're like, you know what, Priscilla, I'm overwhelmed, I don't even know where to start, just shoot me an email and I can connect you to any of those departments.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you said that, because I think colleges do an incredible job of putting support centers in place, creating even sometimes classes and these extracurricular support networks. It's just, it's like you said, you've got to be brave enough to take the first step, just to walk into the tutoring room to say like, math is hard and I need some help, which is a big, I think it's hard for anybody to admit that sometimes. So that's great. Kind of in that same vein, I should have just allowed myself to put this up because you created such a beautiful segue. But a lot of our students in METS identify as American Indian. Other than, I know you mentioned the center, are there other supports on campus specific for Native American students, or other ways that UNM supports different cultures?
Yeah, so mainly are those ethnic centers that we do have on campus, and the ethnic centers are definitely there, not just kind of like as an emotional support, but also through advising. They offer mentorship, they offer scholarship opportunities, so they're definitely there to help you through that step, and then get you connected to other students within that same ethnicity. And then throughout the year, they do offer different events through student organizations or through the ethnic centers, just to, of course, have other students also be able to relate to those ethnicities and cultures. And they just provide different resources throughout the year, especially through those events. And they just try to connect with those students. And then we also offer scholarship opportunities for students within Native American. We do have them on our website. So I don't know if there's somewhere maybe I can put that down.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If you yeah,
And I
on
can
like
email it
Zoom, or
to
you
you.
can just drop it in the chat. Yeah, if you want to email
Okay.
it to me, and then Derek and I can make sure that that gets posted in here with the link. That would be awesome. Thank you.
Yes. And of course, we still have our own scholarships. But yes, we do offer scholarships specific for Native American students.
Wonderful. And you're doing a great job just kind of running into these next questions, but um what are there other financial aid or scholarship options that might be specific to Montana students, or just incoming students in general? And one question that often gets followed up, especially for family supports and parent supports, is when should we begin this process? Is this only for seniors? Should we be looking at anything throughout other times in high school? Are there scholarship deadlines that people should be aware of? Kind of that. I know that you could spend an hour talking about all the different ways to do financial aid and scholarships and paying for school, but are there some key points that Montana families should know about?
Yeah, so first of all, we do have the WE and the WE Plus scholarship. So those are definitely offered to the Western states. And the WE, with that one, you're paying 1.5 times in-state tuition rate, which usually comes out about half of what you would be paying as an out-of-state resident. However, if you get the WE Plus, that's a tuition waiver. So instead of paying as an out-of-state resident, you'll be paying as an in-state resident. We also have the Amico scholarship. That's another tuition waiver. So again, instead of paying as an out-of-state, you'd be paying as an in-state resident. So out-of-state pay about $20,000 a year in tuition and fees. In-state only pay about $9,000 a year. So it's a super big difference. So you definitely want to aim for those tuition waivers. And with the Amigo, you also get a $200 stipend. I know 200 doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, it always comes in handy. And then also for admissions, you definitely want to start applying as soon as that application opens up. For our juniors, we typically open up the application around May or June, the latest, but usually around May, it's already open. So we want to start applying as soon as possible. We'll start with your sixth semester transcript, so all the way up to your junior year. So if you can send us that transcript plus the application, we can start reviewing you for admissions. And the students that applied early on this year, most of them already have a decision made. So usually it takes about 3 to 5 business days to get an admissions decision. So the reason why we want to do that is just to make sure, one, that you're get admitted, and to see where you place at in regards to scholarship. If your GPA goes up because, I don't know, you're taking more classes, you can always submit the new transcript and try to be reconsidered for that scholarship. And then also there's other scholarships outside of UNM, or even with our ethnic centers. You might want to start looking into those. So the earlier, the better. For our upcoming seniors, that application's already open. So if you guys want to start applying for that right now, you could definitely do that. And then for financial aid, we do have a priority deadline of January 6th. So you want to make sure that you guys apply before that deadline. I usually say January 1st, just because the deadline usually shifts a couple of days here and there. I know one year I kind of ended up waiting a little bit too long, thinking, they're just lying to me. They just want me to hustle and finish this application really quick. I ended up receiving less money than I did the previous year. So don't be like me. Apply as soon as you can. That way you guys can receive the most amount of funding through FAFSA. And even if you're like, you know what, Priscilla, my parents make a bunch of money, I'm not going to receive any financial aid, still apply, because there's other scholarships out there that just want you to have the application to be considered for those scholarships.
I'm so glad you said that last part, because we do hear from some students that are like, I'm not going to qualify for whatever under the FAFSA, even though almost everybody does qualify for something. But that's just it. There's other scholarships for sure that are potentially state-based or institution-based that students are eligible for. So I'm really glad you included that. Um, just going back briefly to admissions, are there admission requirements, I guess, might be the right word, that students need to have as either as applying or by the time that they graduate from high school in order to be admitted to UNM?
So we do need your application. Of course, we need an official copy of your high school transcript. And in your transcript, we're looking for 4 years of English, 4 years of math, 3 years of science, 3 years of history, and 2 years of the same foreign language. And then we're also looking for at least a 2.5 GPA. If you don't meet that criteria, then we'll start comparing your GPA against your ACT or SAT test score. So if you feel like maybe you might be on the fence, then I would recommend taking the test just to be considered for admissions. But I typically just tell students, just start applying. You never know. We are just looking at the cumulative GPA, and we're also test optional this year as well. And we're going to continue to be test optional too. But like I said, if you think you might be on the fence for admissions, then you may want to take the ACT or SAT test score. And we do, I kind of blanked out. So we do take a look. So let's say you take the ACT 3 times. That's okay. Submit all 3 test scores. And what we'll do is we'll calculate, we'll get the highest score from every section, and then we'll calculate a new composite score for you. So you definitely want to make sure you submit as many test scores as you took. That way we can go ahead and recalculate that for you.
Okay, that's good to know. Don't worry about losing your thought. That happens to me all the time. I'm glad it's happening to other people too.
Right.
Well, that is awesome. Thanks for that. And so test optional going forward. That's good to know as well. Before I put up your contact information, is there anything else you want to share or you think is important that students know about the campus or community?
Yeah, so one thing I did forget to mention about the ACT or SAT, even though we're test optional, there are some scholarships that do require those test scores. So I would say still take it. That way you can be considered for those. I know the Amigo definitely does, so make sure you do take those test scores. And then what I would also kind of just still emphasize on, I know we already talked about it, is just make sure you do start on that application process as early as possible. That way you can secure your admissions and your scholarships as well. One thing I didn't mention at the beginning about what makes UNM so great is probably their study abroad programs. We are partnered with 150 institutions all over the world. That means you guys can go study anywhere you can think of: Spain, China, Italy, you name it. The best part is that your guys would be paying UNM tuition. You can also take any scholarships or financial aid with you as you go study abroad. We're also partnered with 160 institutions here in the US. So that means you guys can go somewhere like New York, LA, Miami, even Hawaii for a semester too, and then come back and tell us all about it. So it's like getting 2 universities for the price of one. So go out there, go meet your chicos and chicas, and then come back and tell us all about that. And then lastly, if you guys graduate from UNM in 4 years, your last semester is free of tuition. So that definitely saves you quite a bit of money. So once you start at UNM, make sure you guys stay up there with your GPA, making sure that you're taking the right amount of credit hours. That way you graduate in those 4 years to get that last semester free. And even if you have a bunch of dual credit and you think you're going to graduate in 3 years, you'll still get that last semester free. So it'd be super nice to get about 2.5 years of college, and that's it. So it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's good news. I'm glad you shared that. And I'm so glad you brought up study abroad because it has not been discussed this summer. And I know we're like running short on time, but do you want to you elaborated on it a little bit, but do you want to just give a few more sentences? I'm not sure how many students are aware of what that really is as a concept.
Yeah, so study abroad is when you can go study. So you would still be a student here at UNM, but you have the opportunity of going a semester or two somewhere outside of the country. So for example, I had a friend, she went and studied in Spain for a semester. She got to meet a bunch of people from out there. They're still in touch, and she got to really explore the culture and explore the city where she was at, and like I said, make new friends while she was still completing her degree over there abroad. So it's not like you're wasting time. You're still completing your degree. You're just doing it somewhere else. So that's the really great benefit about it. I definitely encourage it for you guys. I didn't take advantage of it, and trust me, it's something you definitely regret. I kind of thought about doing it after I graduated, and then I realized I was like, oh, it's a little bit too late and it's more expensive. So trust me, do it while you guys can.
It's so true. My sister studied abroad, and I never heard the end of her European adventures. And I'm like, oh, I'll do that later. And then you realize, as a working adult, like, it's hard to take time off of work to go do all those fun things. So that is great advice. And UNM sounds like they have an awesome program. So that's so exciting for your students. Well, perfect. I'm gonna put up here Priscilla's contact information. Let me know if I got any of that spelled wrong or typed in wrong. That would be an error on my side. But students, please feel free to reach out, or family members or teachers, for more information about UNM, or if you have some other questions that maybe we didn't touch on today. But Priscilla, thank you so much. I feel like we've learned a lot in just our short amount of time. And I know how busy your offices are in the summer. So thank you for granting us this time this afternoon. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Well, everybody, that is going to wrap up today's session. But again, we'll be back next Wednesday, July 14th. We will be staying south a little ways. Next week's discussion is with the University of Northern Arizona. So a little bit chillier, I think, maybe than Albuquerque, but still in the south. So hope you all could join us. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for being here.